Hey, what's up, y'all? It's poppin'. It's D about to react to this choice video. It's titled TikTok drags Kevin Hart and Whoopi for giving poor people advice. What? This sounds so random, but sure. Let's see what's happening. Let's watch.
Some viewers may find this disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hi, my loves. It's Destin Choice, and you're watching Choice TV. So today's...
He always got some random food item that he places on the table and never eats.
Video, I wanted to get on here and talk about
we're eating.
the issue with Whoopi Goldberg and the fact that she was a little bit out of touch and the fact that she's getting a lot of backlash right now because people are not happy with what she had to say recently on The View.
Apparently millennials
because usually he put the food there, but he don't never touch it or eat it. So is he about to eat it? Did I know he was gonna touch it and eat it?
They have a much different view of the American dream than past generations. Data shows that soaring inflation, student debt, and limited room for advancement in the workplace has made them feel that milestones like affording a home, starting a family, and excelling within the corporate structure are out of reach.
One kid is enough.
Yeah, but you know, listen, every generation comes and wants to do better than their parents did. Every generation. But I'm sorry, if you only want to work 4 hours, it's going to be harder for you to get a house.
Oh, and don't mention 4 days. No.
I would not say that it's due to people's lack of, determination to work. It's not about that. It's that these prices are out of control. I just posted on my IG, actually. There was a post that stated in Los Angeles and in the Bay Area, people who make $150,000 a year are considered lower middle class. Lower middle class. That's what they're considered. So whenever I talk about money, usually, I'm usually talking about LA because I forgot what video it was, but I said something about how there are people who make six figures and they're still like struggling to a certain degree. And I know that based on what I've seen living here in LA. So, yeah. People be out here struggling. So it's not because they working 4 hours like a day. Like, girl, what? Niggas is out here working full shifts, working overtime, and they still barely making it happen. It's giving Kim Kardashian.
I feel for everybody that feels this, but I'm sorry. We busted our behinds. We had to bust our behinds because we didn't have the option of going back.
Y'all gave us the housing crisis, though.
But listen, we had all kinds of stuff.
No, it's true. But the one thing I'd say is millennials are statistically the first generation that's likely to do worse off than their parents.
You know what? That's what they said to us as well. Every generation is told you're going to do worse than your parents. And you know what? People pick it up and they do what they do and they raise themselves. And this is what you got to do. It's called being a good citizen. It's going to be harder for you to get a house.
Whoopi, you literally...
Did she say 4 hours a week or did she say a day? I know the fuck she didn't say a week. Girl, what are you talking about?
Millions of dollars a year to sit on your literal fucking ass and talk shit with your girls. Your day job is what I do at 9 p.m. on a Friday once I've finally finished all of my work and school duties, if I'm lucky, and I don't get paid to do it.
I'm sorry. If you only want to work 4 hours, it's going to be...
Trying to minimize her work down to that, though.
Whoopi Goldberg, let me help you here. The real reason why many millennials cannot afford to have children or buy a home is because your generation effed up the economy and handed it to us on a not-so-silver platter. For an example, let's take 1993, the year I was born. A modest home that cost $100,000 in 1993 now costs a whopping $225,000. And no, wages have not kept up with that rate of inflation. So millennials are not lazy. In fact, they are having to work more hours than your generation did to afford basic housing.
Well, actually, it don't exist.
There's
not a house there.
Tripled since the 90s. So us millennials are up against a completely unfair economy and having to work harder to attain and maintain the American dream.
People were so pissed off, they even went as far as digging up her past of problematic behaviors and her problematic dating history.
Whoopi Goldberg tells Gen Z and millennials that the reason they can't afford housing is because they only want to work 4 hours a day. Coming from a millionaire, this is so out of touch. What's funny to me is that after these statements, the internet dug up her past. All right, we're coming in hot, higgity hot. I mean, remember when she used to date Ted Danson, and as you could see, he's doing that, and she's just smiling at him, just look like she's worshiping him as he's just mocking her heritage.
It low-key look, come on now, look at the blacks. why is the black hair so opaque, and it's like faded over here on Whoopi. Give us her name on Whoopi. This don't seem real. It don't.
I know her ancestors is rolling in the grave.
Oh, I hate this for her. If it is.
Hotter. Polanski was not guilty of rape, says Whoopi Goldberg. I mean, obviously she is very problematic.
Personally, I haven't watched The View in many years. I don't understand why people still watch that shit. I don't know who the fuck is watching that shit. You know, personally, I checked out after the whole Raven-Symoné, Watermelon Drea situation.
Can we take back racist and say discriminatory? Because I think that's a better word.
Yes, it is a much better word.
That's a better word. And I am very discriminatory against words like the ones that they were saying in those names. I'm not about to hire you if your name is Watermelon Drea. This is not going to happen. I'm not going to hire you.
No, that's not their fault.
I would be such a
But I haven't checked for The View in a very long time. I don't know why people still watch that.
Fuck your name got to do with the work
Whoopi
you
Goldberg basically got a lot of backlash because she made it clear that this generation is lazy. First things first, there was a lot of good points in her statement, but I do feel like she's out of touch because, I mean, come on, Whoopi Goldberg. Let's be for real. You're rich. You're worth over $50 million. Let's be honest. You have been able to build a wealth for yourself for the past 35 years, and she's been rich and wealthy for a very long time. Yeah. You know, there's been this big epidemic lately with a lot of rich people trying to tell regular folk how the fuck they should spend their money.
You only get in debt when you don't understand the breakdown of your finances. When you make money, split it in half. Create a fucking account, call it the tax account. Put half of that there, so as you make money, you always put this money in the tax account. I never got to worry.
This applies to some people. So I won't say that he's out of touch by saying this, but other people don't even have any extra money to save. So it doesn't apply to them, obviously. He got some little ass ears. The fuck? They seem too little for his head.
Of giving the government their money, because that money's over there. I'm never going to touch that money, because it's not mine. So now off of my half, I'm going to take another half. This half.
And he's also speaking, he's not even speaking to employees, because when you're an employee, you don't have to put money to the side for the government. The money is taken straight out of your check. So it's already taken out for you if you set up your deductions properly. So he's referring to people who are like self-employed, entrepreneurs and shit like that. Like, or independent contractors, if you will. Because yeah, I have to pay my taxes every year. I gotta set money to the side for taxes.
Going over here. This half is for my next real estate investment. I'm only living off a quarter of my financial gain.
Bitch, you want fucking money! Like, this is like for the average person. Like, people will literally sit up here and be like, you gotta do this and put your money here. And, you know, no, put it in. Bitch, a lot of these people have fucking kids. A lot of these people that you're talking to have like 5, 10, 15 other people that they gotta worry about, take care of. Some people are taking care of their parents. Some people got these crazy ass fucking rent increases within the past 3 years. Everybody's rent went up. Your rent went up. This person's rent went up. The person behind you rent went up. Everybody's rent went up. So there's been this epidemic where a lot of rich and successful people are saying, see, no, you see, you can't get rich off from 9 to 5. You can't do this. It's like, bitch, how out of touch are you? You know what I mean? The average person can't just get on YouTube and be an influencer and make millions of dollars, or start a fucking podcast and make millions of dollars. It's just not realistic. So it really does suck having to hear rich and successful people who are like insanely famous tell people what the fuck they're doing wrong. Now, there is some truth to what a lot of these people say. And I will admit that some people do play victim. It does suck to hear her say, you can't work 4 hours.
If you only want to work 4 hours, it's going to be harder for you to get a house.
I don't know nobody who working no goddamn 4 hours.
Who the fuck is working 4 hours a day at work? Some people are literally working at least 8 hours, and some people are working 4 to 5 days a week. The problem with a lot of these jobs is they want you to go above and beyond. They want like 20 reference letters. They want you to fill out that long-ass survey. Y'all know that long-ass survey where they're like, here, do a questionnaire. How would you feel if you saw Bobby and Miranda crying in the corner one day? What would you do? I don't care about Bobby and Miranda. I'm trying to get paid. I would walk right past them and ignore them. See, they want you to fill out these long-ass surveys. They want you to fill out this questionnaire. They want you to say, oh, your answers won't affect whether or not you got hired. You do the questionnaire, then in 2-3 days, you get told, oh, based on your questionnaire, you didn't get the job. And it's like, what the hell did I get wrong? I thought these were my opinions. So it's just little stuff like that people don't understand. There's a lot of adversities. A lot of these jobs will say, we're hiring. But what they really mean is, we're hiring, but it depends on your experience level. It depends if you have a college education, because we also want to hire people who are in college because we feel bad. But if you do have a college education, we also want some reference letters. And if you do have some reference letters, we also want at least 5 to 6 years of experience. If you have 5 to 6 years experience, we also want you to work for shit pay for about 6 days a week. And we also want you to do some overtime. And we also want you to attend meetings where we're not going to pay you that much, but still attend the meetings. Oh, and also, we want you to know that you're going to be dealing with a toxic work environment, and not all of us are fake, gossipy, and that a lot of us will do anything we can to throw you under the bus so that way we can get rid of you and we can hire somebody else that we personally know. That's what a lot of these jobs are doing. They're not necessarily hiring, and they're also not paying. Who the hell is going to sit up here and stack up hella boxes for $12 an hour? Who is going to sit up here and wash all these things and wash test tubes and go through this, or stand on their feet folding clothes all day, listening to freaking Forever 21 music, to not be compensated for their time,
H&M, that was the
and
worst.
to not get insurance?
No, H&M put me on to Nickelback. And who else? A few other people, but it put me on to a lot of these rock songs and alternative songs that I never heard of. And I remember asking my coworker, like, who is this? Like, this old song, what? This is, Nickelback, whatever. And I'm just like, hey, this shit fire. So that's the best thing I got out of that job, is them put me on to other genres.
And then to be told, if we catch someone stealing and you let them get away, we're going to deduct it from your pay. Like, these jobs aren't hiring. And then you're having to compete with so many freaking people at that. You're having to compete with people who are, for one, 50, 60 years old, who literally have been at the same position, at that same job for 35 years. And because they refuse to retire because of how expensive things are getting, you're still having to compete with granny and granddaddy who are in their 70s and won't retire. So the new generation of people in their 20s and 30s who went to college and are trying to get a decent job can't get no freaking, they can't get no freaking promotion. They can't get this job. So that's why it's insulting and insensitive for rich people who are super successful and super rich and famous to tell all these people, well, you're not doing enough. Well, you should do a little more. And forgive me, I do feel as though that Whoopi Goldberg did have good intentions. She was basically saying that there's a lot of entitled people. And I'm going to piggyback off that real quick. But Whoopi Goldberg doesn't remember how badly she struggled. Whoopi Goldberg remembers how much she struggled, but I don't think she really remembers how bad she had it. I'm going to be real. Whoopi Goldberg, she had the right message, but she's also very out of touch, because Whoopi Goldberg, if y'all didn't know, she came from nothing. Whoopi Goldberg came from a mother who was on welfare.
And I think that's probably where the passion comes with some of these people, because they did come from nothing and they feel like, okay, I made it work, so you should be able to too, So I feel like it comes from that mentality as well.
Whoopi Goldberg was a junkie and a heroin addict, and she also dropped out of high school. She had her
daughter
daughter very young, back in the early 70s, and she comes from nothing. So Whoopi Goldberg built her legacy. She grew up in the era of Jim Crow, redlining, and she definitely has seen a lot in this lifetime. She has had a lot of adversities, and she does have a point. She said that she has to bust her ass to get to where she is. She is a dark-skinned black woman who tried to make it in Hollywood during the era of racism, segregation, and when there weren't that many roles for women that looked like her, and she managed to succeed, prevail, and be a stellar actress. There's so many people who are now sex workers, and yes, a lot of people who you wouldn't even expect are doing sex workers. Hell, Rachel Dolezal recently got blasted for having an OnlyFans and doing X work. A lot of people's incomes are drying up. Apparently. Not just your famous celebrities, but a lot of normal people. If I were to tell all y'all watching right now, what would you do if your current source of income dried out for at least 1 month? If your current income that you had wasn't sustainable or useful in 1 month, what would you do? A lot of people, because of how hard things are getting, don't even have at least a month's worth of rent to cover their rent. So if a month were to go by, a lot of anyone wouldn't be able to pay all their bills. Car note, their kids' preschool, their kids' boarding school, pay for their insurance, pay for their housing insurance, pay for their mortgage insurance, pay for this. A lot of people are having to use a bulk of their income to sustain a decent and happy life. And a lot of these jobs out here just firing people left and right. Everybody wants to do all these type of things. Everybody's looking to change careers. I know so many people who've been working in the beauty field or the tech field, and they're looking to switch careers. I got motherfuckers who work in tech who are saying, how do I get into social media? How do you do all that stuff? I have fucking accountants that I know saying, how do you do like this with social media? How do you like monetize this with social media? It's like, bitch, ain't you in tech? Ain't you in accounting? That's a good hustle. And I get you can never have too much money, but again, with the way things are going and everyone trying to buy a house, it's not going to be realistic. You won't get you a decent house unless you're willing to cough up at least $500,000 US, and that's if you live in a medium-sized city. These 9-to-5 jobs, this clocking in, clocking out, it's not working. It's trying to climb this whole corporate ladder, and yeah, well, at least my job is okay. At least I'm comfortable. How comfortable is your job if they're not going to compensate you for all this time, energy, and effort? It's so bad to the point where people are having to take all their work from work and bring it at home. You having to check emails and go to meetings on Zoom or have long-ass meetings and check emails and all that stuff, and you have to deal with Karens at work just to not even get paid and compensated for your time, just for them to expect you to give a 2-week notice and train your replacement when they can just fire you on the spot. Things have changed, and I do think this generation is a generation that's not settling. But I also have to sometimes look at the thing that Whoopi Goldberg is saying when she says, a lot of people are entitled and need to work. She made it clear that she had her adversities, and no matter what, she worked through them. And guess what? Her adversities were much harder than any of our adversities, or probably just as hard. She endured a lot of racial discrimination trying to come up as a dark-skinned black woman, and a dark-skinned black woman with locks at that in the entertainment industry. And then she also had to come up during Jim Crow. And then also, she was a junkie. So let's be real for a second. Whoopi Goldberg definitely has a lot to say when she says that a lot of people can adapt to their environment. That's just what the world is like. You have to adapt. Yes, a lot of jobs aren't hiring, but there's still things you can do. Part of the reason why a lot of people aren't able to elevate in their career field, or people keep doing the same thing they were doing 2 years ago, is because a lot of y'all don't realize one thing you need to do, and that's networking. Networking is one of the most important things you can do. Ask anyone that works in tech, ask anyone that works as a lawyer, ask anyone that works in any big name industry. You need relationships if you want to keep building your income. You have to build relationships. It's all about who knows you and who you know. You can literally go to university and guess what? Ain't no one gonna give you a job. So
that was my biggest issue. I did not want to network with anybody. Like, I don't want to talk to y'all. I don't care about any of this. Even now, and YouTube, I'm like, hey, I'm not networking with anybody. I don't want to. When people reach out to me, I'm like, no, collab and do what? But hold on, some people who reach out to me, it's on some weird shit. It be men who reach out to me, oh, I got this idea for this video. No, I don't want to. So I'm comfortable with staying in my lower middle class. That's where I'm at on YouTube. I'm lower middle class on fucking YouTube, all right? I'm at that level, and I'm cool with staying there because I do not want to network. So I understand people don't want to do that. It's like, oh, I gotta be fake and kiss ass and I don't want to do that.
At that degree, but who's gonna give you a job? In most cases, you'll get lucky and you'll be blessed if you work hard enough and apply at enough places and you apply at a reasonable city where there's not much competition. But if you live in a big city and you're trying to apply for a job and you just finished university like 2 years ago or a year ago, you are not going to get a job that easily because guess what? That job you're trying to get as a nurse or a doctor or work as a physician or work as a pharmacist, they're going to say, okay, cool, so what have you done in the past 2 years? Oh, well, I just graduated college. Hell no, they're not going to hire you. Why would they hire you when they could hire someone who's been doing it for like 7 years and just got unemployed in the last state they were living in? Why would they hire you? You know what I mean? And that sucks because a lot of people got sold this dream that, oh yeah, I went to university and I got this and that. You went to university and you didn't get much out of it. A lot of people aren't getting much out of going to university. You got all these student loans, you're trying to find a job so you can take care of all these student loans, and you think it was all worth it in the end. For some people, they become blessed enough to take care of themselves and also take care of their loans, but the average person, unfortunately, doesn't have that luxury. The average person has to network. You need to build friendships with people. You need to build genuine relationships. That's so important. A lot of y'all will say, oh, well, I don't have no friends. All I care about is money and going home. And that's why your ass ain't got no fucking friends, because all you care about is money and going home. You need to build friends that are genuine, because when you have genuine friendships, you can actually ask them like, hey, may I have a recommendation letter? May I use you as a reference? And a lot of them are willing to do that. Some of y'all will sit up here and say, oh, I don't really know people like that. I don't really have that many friends. And yeah, of course, a lot of the friends you did have, all you did was drink with them, hook up with them, and just have them in your life, just to have them in your life because you've known them for so many years. You don't have any friends that are like successful and actually going to help you out or actually encourage you and uplift you. Instead, you're that friend that did that for everybody else. People need to learn how to wake up and utilize the time that we have now.
I think networking and your friendships can be separate.
Hard. Money ain't money no more. But you are missing out if you're not going out there. People will be like, oh, well, but how can I network? How can I make new friends? Hello, TikTok. There's always all these networking events you can go on at TikTok to meet new people and collaborate. So even though I'm grilling Whoopi Goldberg, I have to grill some of y'all and say, there's a lot of opportunities everywhere. You just have to create them. You know, even if you're not trying to be an entrepreneur, listen to what Ashton Kutcher said. Ashton Kutcher said every job takes you to your next job. And he's right. Every job takes you to your next job because every job you make is supposed to be for networking, collaborating, connecting with new people. Even if your current job don't work out, you can still make a relationship with other people and say, hey, I know you used to work for this company with me. I know you moved. Is there any chance that you can hook me up with a job? May I use you as a reference? And they'll be like, hell yeah, I'll get you in. I know you. I can vouch for you. And people are more likely to hire you when someone's able to vouch for you. How many people are out there right now going to networking events in your city that are probably doing really well for themselves, that if you were cool with them and they liked you and y'all genuinely vibe, they would tell you, oh, I got you. You can use me as a reference. I have friends where if I ever wanted to like kind of dip out and not use social media and not pour into my brand anymore, I got friends who have literally told me, oh yeah, I work for this company. You can literally use me as a reference. You can't keep relying on these corporate companies and these corporate jobs to hire you because you want to know something? The minute they don't like you no more, the minute the kisser-upper or the goody two-shoes want to snitch on you and try to plot and plan and have everybody go against you, that is when they will get rid of your ass in a heartbeat, and guess what? You'll have no employment. You need to make sure that you go out of your way to use all the time that's presented in front of you. There's so many resources that this generation has. And Whoopi Goldberg says, yeah, we worked really, really hard. And she's right. She's right. She definitely busted her ass for every single thing she has. Whoopi Goldberg earned her wealth and her success. She's a self-made star and a self-made millionaire. Pay wasn't that good back then either. So use all the time that's given to you.
I mean, yes, he is definitely spitting facts. I will leave the link down below so you guys can check out the rest of the vid if you're interested. But yeah, I do think that a lot of celebrities are a bit out of touch, or it's been so long since they've had like regular jobs or they've had to struggle that they don't really understand the severity of, you know, the economy right now and how people are struggling. They don't really know, you know, what that entails precisely. So I get what some of them are saying. They're like, okay, you have to manage your money better, yada, yada. But like with the Kevin Hart clip, it's like, I don't think you're aware that a lot of people can't survive off a quarter of their income. Like, that's wild for him to say that out of his mouth. Like, yeah, just survive, just pay your rent, all your bills and stuff with a quarter of your income, and then the other 3/4 put into other shit. What? That was wild. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think. Let me know what other videos you're gonna watch, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.